Hello YouTube. So, it's been a while since my last video. I've been doing a bit of experimenting with the deck. As the format's progressed, we've sort of come to the point where there's sort of 4 to 5 main hand traps that are a threat at the moment. So obviously we've got the March armies. Fubulos obviously hurts us a lot more than Perulia. We've got Droll, Nib, and Dominus Impulse is sticking around as a meta threat. So Perulia, not too much of trouble for us, so we don't need to worry about that one as much as the others. Fubulos, it still hurts. There are lines where you can search Mole and Glacier and get rid of some of the advantage loss, but it does still hurt. It's the hardest one to do anything about, I think, in my opinion. So we can main things like Ash Blossom when we are going first to try and counter it. Same with Crossout. And interestingly, Droll and Lockbird. I'm going to show you some lines today that can play through Droll and Lockbird and still set up Statue Lock and protect it. So that's going to be really interesting. We've got Nibiru. Depending on our hand, if we can't get to Deep Sea Minstrel in under 5 summons, most of the time we should be able to, but it can happen. Nibiru can be a problem, and a well-timed Dominus Impulse can also hurt. So I'm going to show you some combos with Prince and as well as Visitaeus. So the main thing that you need to know is that for these combos, it's going to be based around Coelacanth, and we do need to play an additional level 3 fish. So you can play Friller Rabca or Butterfly Fish. I think Butterfly Fish is better if you're going second because it has a bit more utility. Rabca is much better going first because it can protect the barrier statue. So just bear that in mind. I personally prefer the Rabca, but there is merits to the Butterfly Fish, and it does open up some rather complex lines because it's got 2 different effects, and one of them you can activate pretty much whenever you want. But for the sake of the video, we're going to be using Rabca. So if we start with our opponent having 5 cards in hand, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 cards up there. Let's put them off the screen. And in our hand, we will start with Nibiru, a water monster, and 3 other cards. There we go. So these 3 can be anything. This one just needs to be a water monster. And I'll go over the line both with getting drolled and without getting drolled. So to start, obviously, as usual, just normal summon Prince, and we'll use his effect. And this is the important thing here. This line, it doesn't matter what you send, well, it doesn't change what you send with Nibiru. So we always go and we send Dragoons. We send Dragoons, and our first search will be for Abyss Shrine. Now we'll go ahead and activate the Dragoons, and we'll search for Minstrel. So here we can Minstrel straight away, taking the Nibiru out of our opponent's hand. So they got 4 cards and a Nibiru gone. Now we can go ahead and use the Abyss Shrine, tributing the Nibiru to summon the Coelacanth. We'll trigger the Neptibus Engrave, bringing back the Abyss Shrine. And we'll go ahead and use the Coelacanth effect, discarding one of the cards in our hand. Doesn't matter what it is. And we'll go ahead and summon the Crocolisk, other level 3, the Rabca, and a copy of the Spike. And because we're playing the Rabca, we can cut the Bispike down to 2, because we don't need to play, well, you can cut down to 1 actually, but for the sake of you don't want to draw all your copies, I think it's worth playing 2, and it's still a pseudo combo piece starter. Right. And now we can go make a rank 3 here. We make the Virtue Dragon, detach to add back the Dragoons in our grave, and we can synchro for 7 here. For Prima Donna. We won't use the effect yet, but we will just straight up overlay for the Atlantean for Abyss Trait. And we'll use the Abyss Trait effect to bring back the Abyss Pike. We'll go ahead and use Pike, discarding it to search for Squad, and we'll use the Dragoons to go ahead and search for Poseidra. Now we will go make Poseidra Abyss on top, and we'll make a link 2 with the Poseidra and the Virtue for Coral Enemy. We'll trigger the Poseidra, sending the Shadow Squad from our hand to revive Grethus, Abyss Trait, and the Rabca. And it's important not to revive the Shadow Squad here because it won't trigger because it comes to the timing, and we need the spots. Don't summon anything there either. So we'll trigger the Shadow Squad. And we can go ahead and bring it. Sorry, I made a mistake there. One of those is supposed to be Minstrel. So we'll go ahead and trigger the squad, and we'll summon an Abyss Shrine from our deck. Then we can go ahead here, synchro summon for a 9 for a Trishula, and we'll use the Trishula effect. So we'll banish a card from our opponent's hand. That one is going away for good. So I've now got 3 cards in hand. We'll go ahead and we'll use the Coral Enemy to bring back the Prima Donna. We synchro the Abyss Trait and the Minstrel away for our Monoceros. We use the Monoceros effect to bring back Grethus. We'll use the Prima Donna here. We can return either one of these to our opponent's hand. It doesn't matter. So we'll return one back to summon the statue from our deck. Then we can go ahead and use the Poseidra here, tributing the Trishula, special summon it. Go ahead and make our second Poseidra Abyss, hard summoning it. then we can link those off for our Mermail King Nectibus. Use the effect of Poseidra again, discarding another card from our hand. And we will bring back Minstrel, Rabca, and Abyssrine. We'll use the effect of the Minstrel, so we'll mill the top 3 cards, and we'll put the Nectibus back on top of our deck. Doesn't matter what we mill there. So now the top card of our deck is Nectibus, and we go ahead and we synchro here for a Crocolisk. Crocolisk was summoned using 2 non-tuners, so we get to draw 2. So we draw our Nectibus and 1 other card. Now we can use our Greethus here to revive a level 3 or 4. It doesn't really matter what we bring back. Well, we could bring this back. We can't use the effect to make them level 7 because it was summoned with Greethus. So we'll just summon this Rhine, and then we make our last link monster, the Abyssalacia. So what does this board have here? So this gets returned to the deck when the Prima Donna goes to grave, so they won't get this back. So our opponent has 4 cards in hand. We know what one of them is because we've banished it and returned it. Oh, you know what they all are because we've used Minstrel. So what we've got Nectibus protecting our monsters from targeting. We've got a Crocolisk that can discard 2 to pop a card. We've got the statue. We've got Abyssalacia that can discard to search for a Mermail. We've got Abyssrine and Grave. So to discard our Nectibus to bring back the Poseidra in our grave to protect the statue. We've also got Rabca and Grave that can, if an attack is declared on the statue, we can banish it, negate the attack, and reduce the attacking monster by 500. And obviously these 2 float if they're destroyed. And we've got 2 other cards that potentially could be hand traps. There is a line I've found here that if you play the Molten Glacier, I don't think it's worth playing it if you can get away with it, because you can get a card out with the Trish. If you get Droll, you can get 2 cards out if you play 2 Trish. Yeah, I did find a line that could get all 5 cards out of their hands, but it used every card in your hand, so they had to have no interaction for it to be viable. And I think getting 1 out is probably enough with this board that you can cut the brick of Molten Glacier. Right, now I'll go ahead and I'll show you that line if you get Drolled. Okay, so here I'm going to show you the same combo, or same starting combo, but what happens if we get hit with a Droll and Mockbird. So we'll go normal summon Nectibus, and same as before, we'll send Dragoons to add Abyssrine. Dragoons will trigger a Chain Link 1, and our opponent will respond with Droll and Mockbird, so we can't search. Now we'll go Abyssrine, tribute Nectibus to summon Coelacanth, and then the Nectibus will trigger summoning back the Abyssrine. We'll now use the Coelacanth, discarding a card from our hand, to summon Abysspike, Friller Rabca, and Greethus. Here we can go ahead, synchro for 7. Go for the Monoceros, put it in the EMZ, and we will special back the Greethus. So our opponent's got 4 cards in hand here, but we're not going to be using Greethers yet. I'm going to synchro for 9 for our first Trishula. And we'll take a card out of our opponent's hand. And the Droll from their graveyard will also be banished. So they'll have 2 banished cards. So they've got 3 in hand. Now we can go ahead and use the Monoceros and the Coelacanth. To go ahead and make Abyss Trade. And just Abyss Trade will activate on summon, and we'll bring back the Abyss Pike. Then we can put Poseidon Abyss on top, and then link these 2 off. For Coralline Enemy, we'll use the Poseidon effect, discarding a card from our hand, and special back Greethers, Abyss Shrine, and Rabca. Now, here we can go synchro for 7 with the Greethers and the Abyss Pike. For our Prima Donna, we can then use the Coralline Enemy to bring back the Greethers. And we can use the Greethers to bring back, we can bring back a Neptibus, or we can bring back, no, just bring back the Neptibus, there's only one left. Then we can go synchro for, synchro for another 9. And that will be our second Trishula. So we'll take another card out of their hand. So they're on 2 cards. We can use the Prima Donna now. Return one of the cards to the hand, probably the Droll and Lockbird, because they can't use that again. So they've got Droll, 2 cards, and we'll go ahead and summon the Barrier Statue. Now here you can go ahead and probably use those 2. Go ahead and make your Neptibus. So we've got them down to, essentially they'll draw for turn, so they'll have 3 cards. One is a Droll, so to do nothing. So they've got 3 cards to play with. They've still got to answer a statue that's protected from targeting, and they can't beat over it because we've got Rabca and Grey. And we've got 2 cards in hand. That one didn't actually need to be a water. So, yeah. Impulse, Perulia. I'm sure there's a way you can do something with this to get like a Dragite. I think I just misplayed somewhere along the lines, but we still got 2 cards out of their hand through a Droll, and we still set up statue, which is amazing. Alright, so here I'm going to show you a line with Abyss and a water monster that can still go through full combo because we're playing a level 3 water monster, or level 3 fish. So start off, we'll go Teus, discarding our water monster to search for Abyss Shrine. Then we use the Rhine, contributing the Teus, special the Coelacanth. We'll discard a card for the Coelacanth to summon our fish monsters. here we go ahead and we synchro the 7 for the Monoceros, which goes ahead and brings back the reptile. And we overlay our 2 3s for the virtue, and we add back a water monster. So we'll go back, add back Taste. It doesn't matter what you add back, but Taste is probably a good one because it's not once per turn to summon it. So if you get interrupted, it does a little bit more. Alright, then we go ahead here, make Abyss Trite, and Trite will revive back the Abyss Pike, and we use the Pike, discarding the Teus, or another water monster if we had one, but in this situation we don't, to search for squad. Right, now we can go ahead here, make a link 2 for the Coralline Enemy, and use Coralline Enemy to bring back the Greethus. Greethus, synchro for 7. To go into our Prima Donna. And now we can go ahead and link, go ahead and make Poseidra on top, and then link these 2 off for our Neptibus. We use the effect of Poseidra, discarding the Shadow Squad we searched out, to go ahead and revive our monsters. So we want Greethus, Rabca, and the Abyss Shrine. Then the Shadow Squad that we just discarded will trigger. Summoning Prince from our deck. Now we can go ahead and use the Prince, sending Dragoons to search for a Dragoons, and then the Dragoons will trigger to search for Poseidra. Now we can go ahead here, synchro for 9 for Trishula, take a card out of our opponent's hand, so they've got 4 left. Now we can use our Prima Donna, return that card to get our statue. Oh, it's right there. Statue and defense. And we can synchro here for a Dragite, or you could make a Link 2 for Basileia, so we can set up the bounces. Yeah, so we've still got 2 cards left in hand, 2 searched, statue lock, it's protected, by Abyss Shrine and Rabca and Crit. And we might have Spell Negate. Opponent would have, well, they'd have their cards back, but we know one of them. Potentially you could have got another card out of their hand permanently by searching Minstrel and then using it with its Dragoons to search Prince or whatever of that, and then you can bring it back and then return the card that you banished with Minstrel with the Prima Donna, so they'd have one card less and it's still be on statue. So yeah, all in all, I think it's definitely worth going through the lines of playing with 2 level 3 fishes. You can cut Pike down to 1 if you want. I think 2 is probably the correct number, but it allows you to play through a lot more, and essentially you're still running the same amount of bricks. I'm technically running 1 less because I've cut them all in Glacier. I'm not 100% sure that's the correct move yet, but it feels right at the moment. Yeah, have a go with yourself, play with sort of these cards and try to figure out any lines, and let me know down below in the comments. Thanks for watching, and yeah, stay tuned for more videos on Mermail. Thanks everyone.